Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tuber. Welcome back. If this is your fourth Walker Season 4 episode review, hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe out there in the big old world. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit skeptical today because, well, first of all, the city I live in has just been very up and down with the weather, so some days I'm doing cold, some days I'm doing hot, and then some days like today I feel stuffy, so I do apologize if I have to scream a little bit more than normal because my normal vocal patterns aren't registering to my ears currently right now. Hopefully I'll be better by next week. But however, I do have a little update to tell you. As much as I don't usually report about these sort of things, I felt the need to, considering the fact it does concern the future of, just this sub-series, is that, as many of you know, the CW has went for many changes last year with the rebranding, the restructuring. I keep saying a lot. Walker was affected partially as, it survived as one of the four remaining OG shows from the CW days. And right now, as much as, we are hoping that Walker would go on at least a while longer, since, there's not that much else out there. Superman Lois is ending this year, and every other new show coming to the network is acquisitions. So in my brain, I'm hopeful that we will get to see a fifth season of Walker. And I know that's kind of weird to talk about it now because we're still in the beginning portion of season 4. I usually don't talk about this sort of stuff till like the later end. But I've read around. I've done a little research that there is a chance we might not get a season 5, or at least a more traditional way of speaking. I'm hopeful that is not the case, But again, I do understand, and I've said this before for years before it actually happened, where like when you're making a TV show, it's a business. Like, everyone's gonna make money somehow. The old days of, how the CW used to operate is like basically let's just keep making shows and then making them on the back end for next to little to even sometimes in the red. As many people know, the CW was never profitable in over a decade. They just kept hemorrhaging money because it was working, the popularity effect, but it wasn't giving them the money. Now the new owners are focusing primarily profitability first, like self-centered in a way. But then again, when you're looking at a business strategy, you got to focus on your company. If you focus on the other people, how they're making profit, you're never going to make profit. So I'm understanding the certain caveats of things. I heard Walker, it's a very budget-friendly show since the beginning. Thankfully, tax breaks, budgetary reasons have kept this, again, this isn't a big VFX show. But again, you are going on location a lot. A lot of these things are not really set pieces. You are using, real life locations. So those cost money. The point I'm trying to make is that I'm mentally preparing myself if we do not get a season 5 renewal, towards later this year. I'm getting ready for that. It sucks. It really does. I never want to think like that. But at the end of the day, with most of these shows, sometimes it's literally a business reason. It's literally not the ratings or the reception. It's literally one person could be very hauled deep on like, no, it's got to be this amount of money or nothing else, and the show's canceled. Again, it sucks to think of these shows as numbers, but at the end of the day, for some people, the Walker is a part of a corporate layout strategy. It is. So, I do hope we will get a season 5. I do hope this isn't the end of the Walker universe. I hope we can get a little bit more out of here. I knew it was never going to be another Supernatural. I knew that was the case going into this, but like I always just had high hopes, like, at least maybe 5 to 7. That just seems like the traditional way of things. But like, again, we'll see. Maybe I'm talking out of my mouth. Maybe I'm worrying about nothing. We will see. We're just at the beginning portion of it. I'm just giving you an early heads up that there might be some difficult conversations down the road. So with that all being said, down to it to this week. This episode felt more like, a really suspenseful pseudo thriller where like we're still cooking the pot, we're still boiling the water, but this felt like the first steam where like the end, like I'm just jumping to the end a little bit, like the way everything was set up, the acting between characters, the tension in certain scenes, the music, it actually is gratifying. Like there's, for me at least, they're really kind of selling the suspense of like who this jackal is. We don't know anything about this person, so, and the fact that it's already made such an impact on so many people, it's it's a bit creepy to say the least. It's not, it's usually a little difficult to create that, especially on a TV basis. Like, to create such a creepy, ominous character that we don't even have like even a first look at right now. Definitely there is just some things that are questionable. Definitely it feels like, okay, we're kind of like delaying certain things to kind of stretch it out a little bit more. But again, this is TV 101. You got to do this isn't a movie where like it's really jumping from point to point. So it's like it's the first time I'm starting to feel that in Walker. Not that it's a bad thing, but it's just like I can feel it that they're gonna withhold certain events until like later on, and that. Again, this felt like one of those crucial episodes where like we don't need everyone on board throughout the entire episode. This is kind of just doing its own thing. We're kind of just like feeling the flow here. I can feel that. It's just now it's the matter of the case of like, where are we gonna go? Where this can go any amount of directions, and I can't wait to see when and how they all converge together. This is how it usually goes. Like somehow all the plot lines converge somehow. We've seen it in 1, we've seen it in 2, we've seen it in 3, we're going to see it in 4 somehow. So I'm just excited to see how that's going to be the case. As much as, again, I don't really like the aspect of like bottlenecking certain characters into like specific groups and not getting the whole team together. And again, maybe I'm just a little bit dumbfounded. Maybe I forgot 2 and 3 already because I haven't seen them in years. But I think it's working right now. I think it very much is working. And for me, I'm actually very excited to see how the next episode is going to keep building that story. It's slowly becoming one of those like, hey, maybe this would have been a great binge. Possibly, who knows? There's still like, I think 9 more episodes left this season. There's just so much room to like improve or decline. We'll see how it goes. But with that all being said, let's go for the Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of Walker. So we pick right back up where we left off last week. Stella and Sadie are being held by gunpoint by Wilt. I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly. They're just assuming, okay, this is it. We're already at like a very crucial interpass. This is where Cordell's going to come in and save the day. The Jackal thing's going to be put on hold. Actually, no, Wilt's actually not here for any sort of real violent thing against Stella or Sadie. He's just mainly trying to explain to them, look, I just needed a ride out of town. And, you're right. I just need an excuse to like be able to talk to you on the move, but have you also feel like you're in danger. So I'm like, I'm sorry, I gotta put a gun on you just to like keep it going, which I might do. There's many ways you could have done this, but okay, relatively speaking. So he explains to the fact of like he the reason why he targeted them back in the end of season 3 was there was no personal vendetta. This was just a job. Like he was hired to go into Jerry's house to steal a necklace. He never found the necklace. Then he got discovered by Stella. Then he got shot by Stella. And that was the end of that. And of course, obviously, when they went away to go get help from Liam, and he came back, he was gone. So now he fills in where we left off. This was like kind of like the middle in between, because like again, we just immediately jumped into like he got burned alive sort of thing, which I'm like, did I forget a scene or something? But like no. So he explained that the getaway driver that was supposed to take him away picked him up. He took with him, and initially he was telling, take me to the hospital. I'm going to die. And he's like, no, we got to meet the buyer. We got to meet the person who's hiring us, which is just some person named Jordan. And, apparently this Jordan, very big deal, very dangerous person. They don't want to fuck with them. And so they're really trying to like, okay, let's at least go back to them. Let's explain the situation so they don't assume that we just took the money and ran away. Something happened in the way there, and the car got flipped, and, the getaway driver was the one who died, but since Wilt's blood was already in the car, and that was the only thing they could find from the crime scene, they just assumed Wilt was the one who died. So they kind of just wrote off that story. So Wilt's kind of been an AWOL man trying to get away from it all. But, when he tries to, it turns out whoever is really after him, Stella, and Sadie already is aware of their location. So I'm like, no matter where you go, they're going to know where you are. And he even shows them the necklace, and it's like, what does this all mean? Like, why did this freaking Jordan need a necklace? This isn't like even I'm looking at this picture, and I'm like, this is like a basic ass necklace. What is like? Is there like some sort of secret compartment inside of it with some secret thing? I really don't know. I don't understand the point nowadays. So after that's all done, he pulls them aside to a nearby, like, an abandoned warehouse, not to take them inside and kill them, but like just to, like, so they can, like, have a mutual leave up. Well, as a sign of good faith, he gives Stella his gun, just like, in case she comes after you, here's a way to protect yourself. And he does say, like, look, I need your help finding the necklace. I'm gonna lay low again, but like, if you're ready to help me, we can do this. We can team up, figure this out, and then figure out a move against Jordan, and then try to see if we can all get out of this somehow alive. So the moment passes. Obviously, Stella and Sadie have a talk about it. We're like, okay, yeah, so we're gonna talk to your dad, Cordell, and we're gonna explain to him the whole situation, and we should be fine. You'll move back home. Maybe I'll move in with you. We'll be fine. We'll be safe. But Stella doesn't think like that, because, like, again, remember, throughout the first 3 episodes of the season, she's been racked with that guilt of, like, she killed someone, and she's had to lie to people to admit that, like, I didn't know this person originally, and I killed them. Now that kind of it's been lifted, she still has the fear of, like, well, what if we protect ourselves, but then he dies? Technically, it'll be out my hands again, and I don't want that. So I think the best case scenario is to help him with whatever he's doing, and maybe we can get out of it. Obviously, Sadie's in a very big disagreement camp about this, because in fact, she doesn't want to get involved. She didn't want to be back in town. She just felt guilty that, like, okay, well, Stella needs me. I kind of left her high and dry. I guess I'll come back. And now she's ready to leave again, because she does not want to get involved in this. She does not want to see where this could end up. It could end up in them dying for the most part. You don't really know. Despite whatever this Jordan is, you never really know. We come back to Ranger HQ, Cordell, and, the Trey, Phil, Maureen, and Cassie about the whole Jackal case, where they're at in that investigation. Cassie's very much like, no, I don't want to get involved, like, already, like, this is my first big case back in the Rangers, and you're telling me to keep it a secret from James. Unacceptable. Not going to happen. I'm not going to risk the little reputation I have basically on a ghost hunt, especially one that's not even approved by the captain. And obviously they're trying to explain to her, like, this is, like, again, last time this happened, he went berserk. It led to his divorce. Like, until they have concrete proof the Jackal is back, they cannot present this to him, because if it goes nowhere, it could ruin his newfound marriage with his wife again. Eventually, they decide, okay, Cordell's gets a call from James. He's back in town already from the convention. He's going to go distract him at the stool, while Trey hits up another lead, and Cassie's the one who's got to go meet up with Detective Luna, a.k.a., oh my god, I already forgot his name. The guy from Independence, the one with the bow and arrow, Abby's confidant from the tribe. I forgot his name already. It's been a while since I've seen Independence, but anyway, speaking, so Cassie immediately went from being completely in denial about this to having to take point on, like, a very crucial part on this, like, pseudo investigation. So they split up their ways. Trey, we don't get to see him again to the end of the episode. Again, very much budgetary reasons, I can tell. There's just no space for him in the cast right now for this episode. Speaking of which, over back at the Walker Ranch, again, I'm feeling the emptiness. Like, remember, 3 weeks ago, this house was filled with people, filled with actors, and today it's just Liam and August, and they're both like, you know what? We got the house to ourselves. We can, like, cook up some steaks, make some steak tacos, enjoy the night. And I'm like, isn't it like 8, midnight by this point? Like, I really don't know. Maybe I consider night shifts to be, like, super late in the night, regardless of the case, what might be. So they decided to do that and just, have a little, like, uncle nephew type of hangout. They're both kind of shitting on Stella a little bit, considering the fact Stella has not been adhering to her rescue duties, and also she still has August's money from the sale. So they're both kind of peeved at her. So August recommends, like, hey, let's just go over to the campus. Let's go get the money. Go give her a piece of our mind. And finally, Liam accepts, no, I don't want to get involved in that. Like, I think it's best, that we stay out of it. We don't do nothing. We just let it be. And again, whenever Stella decides to come back, she'll come back. But right now, I think it's best we just kind of let her, be her own thing. Obviously, August disagrees and decides to head off after her. Cassie meets up with Detective Luna, and again, it's weird, but it's also cool the fact, we have an independent actor coming in to actually, play a new character, which again I still think is a descendant that kind of, which I'm pretty sure it is. It just makes the most rational sense. But again, it's so cool. It's really really cool um to see him in action again. A little bit more gruffier than last time, but I'm assuming because the last time he was filming both Independence and Walker at the same time, so he kind of had to have a similar book. And plus, it's been 5 months, so I'm like, he's allowed to get a little facial hair. Immediately off the bat, I already can tell. Yeah, they're gonna pivot something against with Luna and Cassie, and I sort of got Trey gets involved in some sort of stupid love triangle. I'm gonna be like, okay, that's it. We're like, it's okay with the teens, that's traditional teen drama to get a love triangle. I understand that, but like, if we're gonna get adults, like we're in 2024, do we really need adult love triangles? It's kind of stupid. I mean, at least in my day and age, I don't accept that really. But they already got a good banter going, regardless of where it might lead. Luna being more of a experienced detective, and Perez having her FBI training. They kind of work with each other very well. The motel that they got the lead at is sadly a hotspot for gang activities, so they got to be very careful how they approach this, because they don't take kindly to outside folks. So they decide to pay off one of the regular patrons and just decide to investigate the room that's presumably the Jackal's been staying at recently. So again, I thought this could have gone another way. I'm thankful it didn't. Like, again, if this ends up being a slow burn, okay, fine. I'll take it as what it may be. They're slowly starting to look into it. They're getting a little bit of a banter going. Apparently, there's another rival barbecue shop to Cassie's families from that we got introduced to last season or the season before. Yeah, I think it was last season. So already getting that banter, like, it's selling on their dynamic a little bit more, which I'm like, again, I wouldn't be surprised if they do end up pivoting that way, just because, not gonna lie, as much as I would love for Trey to have a solid relationship, since he hasn't had one since Mickey, it would be a little cliche to just to have him randomly pair up with Cassie. It would be a little bit too on point. I feel like they're exploring that, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, this Luna guy, I think this would be a better match. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into things for myself. Um, so they're looking around the room. They kept getting interrupted because the kid they hired is just, they feel bad for her because her mom went AWOL recently, so they feed her some food. They try to take care of her. There's a disturbance back at the manager's office. There's a little bit of a commotion. They try inserting themselves to be like kind of like the alpha males, kind of like trying to like take control of the situation, trying to like diffuse it. But the real leader in charge of this motel is just like, oh no, like, no, bro, you don't do that here. This is my turf. If you're gonna make problems on my turf, you're gonna die. Basically, the point is. Thankfully, Luna and Cassie tag teams the three of them. They take them down pretty with ease. They just said, look, we won't pursue this forward. We just want to help this girl find her mom again. So they get a little lead. They head off to the forest. They look around. Luna's talking more about the Jackal, just how much his presence has really affected everyone that's worked in the case. And, that just like, just slowly explaining his MO, explaining the grim details, just how much destruction he caused the last go around. And the fear of like, what he could do this time around, because you never really know. These sort of people are kind of insane to an extent. We cut over back to the stool. Cordell and James, they're shooting the shit. Cordell's just keeping him distracted while Cassie and Trey are working up the real leads. James has this theory that his wife has been a little distant from him lately, despite their honeymoon stage right now. And he's chalking it up to be that, maybe she's pregnant, that there's a possibility she could, be giving them their second child, their second chance at being parents again. Which James welcomes that, like last time, it wasn't exactly perfect. So to have a do-over would be great. It would be a great opportunity. He's very much down for it. Cordell's trying to keep that the subject, trying to keep that the primary subject. However, when we come back to the forest, sadly, Cassie does find a recently dug plot of dirt, so they start digging it up. It sadly is the mom. She's already dead. The dirt already hit her lungs, so she's gone basically. And they find a jackal tooth in her mouth, so that's confirmed. He's back, or she's back, or they're back. The jackal's back basically, and Now it's like shit. It's reality. You know, the first time could have been like copying the MO, could be something completely different. The second time, I'm like, okay, yeah, no, this is the guy. This is the person we've been hunting for, and they're back in action. Cassie tries informing Walker first, however, knowing that this is a very sensitive and timely situation. She contacts James. She tells him the whole thing that yes, the Jackal's back. We have a crime scene here. We need all hands on deck here. James, hearing all this, just feels betrayed in a way because, like, you know, he was being withheld information from his own old partner, his own best friend. And it's actually even worse considering that he's his boss. So that can go any amount of ways. And at first James is like trying to keep it chill, he's trying to keep it stable, but then he's like, nah, like what the fuck, man? Like, you know, like you don't do that. You don't withhold this information. Of course, Cordell just explains to him that, like, you know, like when this all happened in the beginning, it was your honeymoon. I just didn't want to wreck it, you know. And again, all this was just like estimatory hunches. Nothing officially confirmed whatsoever. Nothing founded yet. And the fact that, you know, James is obviously thinking just like a different parameters right now, considering the fact this is, again, a sensitive case for him with such a very messy history that I can tell by his face, like the moment he realizes, okay, shit, the man I've been hunting for years and years and years is back. Like, you know, how does he react to this? You know, he's in a different position. He's got different, you know, priorities now. He's got different things that he can lose this time around. Like, you know, there's a lot on his mind right now, and just he snapped at Cordell a little bit. So, which again, if you really look at it, you know, as long if he can just like take a second to like really understand where he's coming from, it would be a different scenario. But at the same time, like, you know, I do understand where he's coming from. I do understand like just that immediate gut reaction of like, you know, this information that you should be knowing already is just not available to you at the time, and then by the time you realize, it's like, oh shit, this has been going on for months and no one's been telling me anything. So he says, all right, we're going to head out there. You know, we're going to just, you know, process this as every crime scene and figure out the next steps from there. Back in Stella's dorm room, they still talk, her and Sadie talk more about what the decision is. Sadie's just said, I'm going to leave. I don't want to get involved in this any further. You know, the guy's not dead. Whatever he's involved with, that's his problem. You know, if you want to help him, I'm going to go. I got to leave. And so she leaves. You know, August comes in, you know, a little bit berated about the whole money thing. And that's what Giselle assumes. Okay, here's your money. Get the fuck out of here. I'm going to go ahead and do this on my own. But August reminds her that, hey, look, we're brothers and sis. We're bro and sis. We have this comradeship. We have this, you know, sibling connection. We've been through so much, specifically only mentioning the first season stuff. And he's like, you know, I'm going to be here for you. So if you want me to leave, I'll leave. But again, I would like to help. I want to help however I can. And just, you know, that if you just give me a chance. And Stella's like, okay, just can't tell Dad. So she tells him everything about what happened since last summer. And he's like, okay, well, I kind of agree to you why you don't want to tell Dad. But at the same time, you know, Dad is there to help. But Stella's is more, again, still more than like, you know, she doesn't want to get him involved unless, again, similar to how he's doing with James, that until there is an absolute way they're all going to be safe. That no one's going to get hurt, no one's going to get harmed, especially Wilt. So they're going to call him up, work with him, find this necklace, and see what they can do to, like, you know, get this Jordan off all their asses. So Wilt comes in, he was summoned by Stella. They're all introduced to each other, and they're just ready for, like, to see, okay, what is the next step? What do we have to do to end this situation once and for all? And then slowly we arrive at the crime scene for the dead body. You know, obviously it's just, you know, I think they shot it well. It's very much like, you know, you got multiple different corners where like everyone's just slowly accepting the fact that, okay, this guy's back. He really is back. And then you see the victim from a distance, you know, being taken away. The daughter just, you know, in a very much of a confused state where like, she just doesn't know what's going on. The fact that her mom is like dead and she's just all alone is just, you know, how do you do that? Like, what is the nature of all that, basically speaking? So, again, I can totally see where they're all coming from. It's just the matter of where do we go from here? You know, everyone's in different positions. James is just like, where is his mental stability at? Cordell is just trying to figure, okay, Well, we failed mission 1. Now mission 2, we just can't lose Captain Jane. We can't let him fall into the dark side, or at least in this case, the more assessed side of things. You know, that's the priority now. But how will this case continue? What will they have to lose? What is next for them to really tackle on? We'll have to wait and see until next time on the next episode of Walker, because that was it for this week's episode. For me, I thought it was great. You know, I think, you know, I'm primarily just focusing on both the Jackal storyline and whatever Stella's got to do with this Wolf stuff. I think they just kept this as simplistic as possible. They gave all the effort to those two. Those are the two crucial storylines this year. This was an important episode for both of those fronts, you know, accepting the reality of the situation and then really figuring out, okay, now we're in that position where we know what we're up against. We know what the stakes are, kind of. Now, how do we progress into, like, fixing the problem? Like, how do we solve this problem? And, you know, this is a different story where, like, you know, this isn't a grave flag. This isn't, like, some sort of, like, gang activity. This is a freaking serial killer, you know, that, you know, is a lone wolf. Rarely any connection. It's basically like finding a needle in a haystack. It's actually a much more severe situation than previous situations. And, you know, honestly, you know, I'm just a little scared that, like, you know, that this is gonna be, like, I'm not afraid for this to go dark. I'm not afraid of it. I mean, it's still gonna keep that TV-14 rating. It doesn't really matter what the hell they really do. They're gonna stick to that rating. But the only thing I am concerned for is just the twist has got to be right. Whoever the Jackal, like, the delivery's got to be right. The person playing them has to be perfect. And this is going to be sort of somewhat of a Walker adjacent thing, because, like, as much as the show is called Walker, this is something James has got to do. So again, they have the potential to really play with a great story here, and this is just the first piece of it. But now is this, all eyes are like, how do you follow this up? How do you really do that? Are you gonna, like, fluff it up, or are you actually gonna prominently, you know, follow suit on the storyline? So yeah, but with that being all said, I'm giving this episode 2 thumbs up. I very much enjoyed it so much. Let me know in the comments down below, what did you think of this week's episode of Walker? I would love to hear your thoughts down below, as always. But I believe that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the 4th season of Walker. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's the Two, besides our season 4 episode reviews for Walker. Next week we are back. The Rookie returns for its final stretch of season 6 episodes. So that will be every Tuesday night. So go check on there. But if you don't care about Walker, you're in good luck. We will be getting another brand new episode review next week, same time, same place. So yeah, can't wait. Can't wait for all that. But again, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Like, favorite, share if you want to. Ring that bell and follow us on social media. But until we see each other again, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, stay safe out there. Be good to each other. And as always, peace out.